going to do a drawing demonstration of one of the EMP double-stack container cars that goes by on the tracks outside. So basically, a double-stack car starts as a platform that holds the double-stack containers.
Come on in.
A lot of people say, well, I can't draw a straight line. But basically, a double-stack container starts as a box on wheels. And on this end, the double-stack car basically shares a wheel with the 5-pack of double-stack containers cars that go in this direction. The reason why they share a wheel and make a 5-pack is to reduce weight. This increases the fuel efficiency of the train. And increasing fuel efficiency on an already fuel-efficient train is a very important thing. Now, these trucks, which are what the side frames of the train's wheels are called, have springs in them. And what the springs in the trucks do is they compress as the load is put into the train car. The load in a double-stack container car is basically 2 truckloads. Each one of these represents a truckload. And these are taken off and on from the double-stack container car and put on highway trucks at the terminals. And these double-stack container cars, they basically have ribs on them because double-stack container cars basically have all different kinds of merchandise. These are domestic double-stack container cars here, but they have international and domestic double-stack containers. And the reason why I'm putting these ribs on them is that they're fairly thin walls on container cars, which again reduces the weight on the highways and reduces the weight of the train. And these ribs structurally make these containers sound. Now, this basically, here I'll straighten this up. This basically, the train car connects on this end with a coupler. And this will basically connect either to the rest of the train, or if it's the end of the train, if you remember the days of the caboose, many trains today do not have cabooses anymore. So there is what is called a FRED, or a flashing red in device. And the flashing red in device has a little red light that flashes. And as that light flashes, it lets you know that this is the end of the train. And also, there's an air line which has the braking system of the entire train, so that when the engineer throws an air brake, it stops the entire train from the front through an air line that goes throughout the entire train. And that air line basically goes and ends at this flashing red in device, and the computer in the flashing red in device lets you know that there are no problems with the rest of the train. And then basically, the train car itself has a symbol on it. This symbol on this train car is TTX. That stands for Trailer Train Company. And Trailer Train is basically a broker of all of these well cars and piggyback cars that carry containers and trailer loads. And basically, in doing that, Trailer Train Company basically has a pool of trailer cars and container cars that go throughout America. And then there is a number on this train car.
I have to like my horizon.
Well, what this is.
Yes, I have a plan.
I have a plan.
And this number with the initials DTX basically tells us that this car is a double-stack container car which trailer train has all kinds of cars, such as single stack piggyback cars and the cars that carry finished automobiles. And basically the number on this car basically tells us where this car is supposed to be. Right now we're in Chicago, and being here in Chicago, basically if they were to track the number on this car, it would say it's in Chicago. It's bound, for instance, for Atlanta, or it could be bound for Omaha, and it tells us where this car is. Now each of these containers basically will have a number too.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Just there.
Maybe I wonder if this, what the holdup is.
Yeah, basically, what those numbers tell us on the containers is basically the same thing. Once these containers get put on or off of a train, it basically will tell us that where these truckloads are supposed to go and when they're supposed to be on or off a train, and it basically is a way of tracking all these cars. Now, these containers will say EMP.
That's what you're talking about right there.
Yeah.
Right here, we are on a Union Pacific line, and a lot of the containers that go by will say EMP, which means Equipment Management Program. And EMP basically will mean that the containers coming from Norfolk Southern going to Union Pacific are part of the Equipment Management Program. That basically means that, for instance, a container coming from somewhere, such as Pennsylvania, headed to Los Angeles, is in an equipment management program, basically interchanging from Norfolk Southern to Union Pacific and going across America. So that's, if you see a container that says EMP, what that means. And pretty much, and as soon as I put a rail underneath, this train car is basically good to go down the track.